I should support them because I'm really at risk if I'm in my 20s. You weren't. They just lied to you, bankrupted you, your dad, your mom, your uncle, your grandmother. They bankrupted everyone. They did it on faulty data, and 15 days to stop the spread became, in some states, 15 years to stop Donald Trump. Look at this ridiculous Washington Post headline. These lunatic. I'm biting my tongue. Let me just read the headline, seriously, because I'm super PO'd today. The Washington Post from June of 2020. New research explores how conservative media misinformation may have intensified the severity of the pandemic. What? This article was a flaming dumpster fire full of hot garbage. The insinuation was if you watched Fox and Hannity and others in conservative programs, you were misinformed. That's fascinating. Here's another one by this Minnesota Post. They found this up on a search, an internet search this morning. Check this headline out. People who rely on conservative media for COVID-19 news are less informed, more likely to believe conspiracy theories, studies find. Jeez. So just to be crystal clear on this, the conspiracy theory promoting Washington Post, whatever, Minnesota Post, Nicole Wallace and the others who told you the post office is a model of efficiency, teachers unions love your kids, Spygate isn't real, but collusion is. Those same people are now saying if you watch conservative media, you're misinformed. That's really fascinating because a study just came out. Oh, it did? Yes, an actual study. You know, something media people on the left don't pay attention to? This is a long clip from Tucker Carlson. It's about 2 minutes. You know, not long, but long for radio. I rarely play anything over a minute 30, but this is a clip you need to see. Paula had to hunt this thing down today. I gave her the wrong date. Poor woman was working. She's like, where is it? I watched the whole show. It was the wrong show. It's about a 2-minute clip from Tucker Carlson's monologue last night, where he talks about an interesting study done by Franklin Templeton, Joe. In other words, Franklin Templeton, I believe they're an investment firm. They're a business. It's not a political firm. They were trying to get a take on how their investors and their money people, what they know and don't know about the coronavirus so they can make, smart money decisions. It's not a political survey here. They found something really interesting, which Tucker will get to at the end, but listen to all 2 minutes of this about how, again, Democrats live in an alternate universe where they're lied to often and morons who identify as radical liberals embrace it and love living in a fantasy land that's just not real. Listen to every second of this. Check this out.
It's been more than 6 months since the coronavirus arrived here from China. At this point, we know a lot about the disease. We know how it spreads. We know who is most likely to die from it, most importantly. No topic in recent memory has been studied more carefully than this one. If only knew this much about how to keep marriages together, for example, or how to keep our kids off drugs, we'd be happy. But we know a lot about this. So you'd think this one topic would be one on which Americans would be deeply knowledgeable, the Wuhan coronavirus. But no. Just the opposite is true. Most of us seem to know very little about it. Why is that? Well, because we've been lied to. A new study illustrates the effects of the relentless disinformation campaign about coronavirus. The investment firm Franklin Templeton looked at what the public believes about the virus. They found that on average, Americans believe that young people 44 and younger, account for about a third of the coronavirus deaths. That's completely wrong. In fact, the truth isn't even close to that. The actual number is under 3%. Not a third, under 3%. Very few young people die from the virus, but strangely, young people seem totally unaware of this. On average, they overstate the risk of death from the coronavirus by a factor of 50. Now you know why politicians have been able to shut down the schools. Students are terrified. They shouldn't be terrified. Overwhelmingly, this virus is a threat to middle-aged and elderly people with pre-existing health problems. Adults over the age of 55 account for more than 90% of coronavirus deaths, more than 90%. The numbers are out there, yet somehow the public doesn't know this. Why don't they know this? You know why. Lying, motivated by politics. The more CNN you watch, the less you know about science. That's not speculation. The study found that self-described Democrats, quote, tend to mistakenly overstate the risk of death from COVID-19 for younger people much more than Republicans. This was not a partisan survey. This was a survey done by an investment firm to guide their investments.
That's probably the single most upsetting 2 minutes of video that I've seen in a really long time. That even when it comes to a deadly virus for people over 55 who could get very sick and potentially die from this, even when it comes to a deadly virus, we can't tell the American people the truth in the media because our partisan motives have to take precedent. The Democrats wanted a couple things from the start and their media hacks. And that's why they lied to you about the coronavirus. And that's why people who are younger think people are dying who are young left and right from the coronavirus, despite absolutely no data indicating that whatsoever. Just like there's no data about the collusion hoax either. People believe it, though. I'm sure Franklin Templeton will be burned to the ground and boycotted for doing a study that dares to tell the truth as well. By liberals who are lunatics. They're flat earthers. They're dumb. That's harsh, Dan. No, they're really dumb. They believe things that are factually incorrect, despite the evidence being in front of their very eyes, if they would just pick up a phone or a computer and look for it. That's the very essence of being dumb. Some people can't help being dumb. They just don't have access. Listen, some people, and I don't mean dumb in that your aptitude or achievement isn't there. I mean, you've been dumbed down because you can't. Some people in North Korea don't have access to information. They believe, Kim Jong-un is a descendant of a god because that's all you've been told your whole life, and you have no access to an alternate theory that maybe he's just a fat guy in North Korea. You have no excuse here. You could literally pick up your phone or your computer and research the death rate for people under 55 for corona and find out that the media is lying to you. Why are they lying to you, though? Well, we know why they lie about Spygate, the Postal Service, and other things, because they just want Donald Trump to lose the election and make you believe he's a Russian traitor. But why do they lie to you about the threat to younger folks, despite the threat from coronavirus being very little? Not non-existent, but very little. Because they wanted a couple things, folks. Democrats wanted the economy locked down because they knew it would do significant damage to Donald Trump's chances of winning re-election based on an economic message. There is no evidence whatsoever these lockdowns have done a damn thing. But they wanted it locked down. And in order to get it locked down, they had to overstate the risk. So when you did your own personal risk reward, gosh, lockdown, do I support lockdowns? I should support them because I'm really at risk if I'm in my 20s. You weren't. They just lied to you. Bankrupted you, your dad, your mom, your uncle, your grandmother. They bankrupted everyone. They did it on faulty data, and 15 days to stop the spread became, in some states, 15 years to stop Donald Trump.
You just heard Dan Bongino.